For sake of time, we're going to go ahead and get started because I know Bob has a lot to talk about, but welcome to the Traveling Owls and AHI Travel webinar. My name is Shannon Burnett. I'm the Assistant Director with Alumni Programs responsible for the Traveling Owls portfolio. I'll be here to monitor the chat, answer any questions about Rice or Traveling Owls specific, but the main event is you'll get to hear from Bob Carpenter from AHI. Before I turn it over to him, I did want to go over just some Zoom etiquette. We are using the Zoom meeting platform, which means that your video can be shown or not shown. You're welcome to turn it off while Bob does his presentation, and then I welcome you to turn it back on when we have the Q&A at the end so that that can kind of be more of a dialogue. I will ask that you keep your audio on mute while you're not talking to cut out any background noise. Bob's going to give an overview of the program and our 2021 trips, and then leave time at the end for questions. If any questions pop up while he's presenting, you're welcome to put those in the chat. I'll be monitoring to make sure that we loop back to them. Otherwise, at the end of his presentation, you're welcome to take yourselves off mute and ask them more face-to-face, well, as face-to-face as we get in these times. I think that's kind of all of my, yep. All right, now I'm going to toss it over to Bob Carpenter from AHI Travel.
Thank you, Shannon. It's good to be here with you all, albeit remotely. I'm sorry I'm not on your beautiful campus in Houston, but I am Bob Carpenter. I'm Vice President of Sales for AHI and have been with them for 20 years now. And I've worked with Rice that entire time. It's been a great pleasure. And AHI worked with Rice and the Traveling Owls for many years prior to that. So we've had a very long relationship and one that we're honored to have. Alumni Holidays has been around a lot longer than me. It was started as Alumni Holidays, now AHI, in 1962 by Richard and Arlene Small. And it is still owned and operated by three of their sons, Joe, Rick, and Brian Small. And we're very fortunate in that to have a family-run business that so we can do things the way we want to do them. We're based out of Chicago. We work with more than 200 colleges and universities in nonprofit organizations in the US and Canada. That's always been our niche. We started off working with alumni associations, and that's where we've stayed. We don't sell retail. You can't go to the corner travel agency, if you can find one now, and purchase our trips there. So we have very unique itineraries. We plan them, operate them ourselves with our staff in Chicago and with our partners around the world, our suppliers, and also our very talented ground staff, travel directors around the world with their input, and of course the input of our travelers and school partners as well. And that is probably a good time to remind you that these are fully escorted tours that we offer, so that when you get to your baggage in the airport of your destination and emerge, you will be greeted by our travel staff, and they will be with you the entire time of the trip until they put you back through the airport on your way home. If I know some of you have traveled in group travel, and you know that the people on the ground, the travel directing staff, can make all the difference between a very high quality experience and one that's not so much. And we're very, very fortunate. We've got, I think, the best in the business. Some of them have worked with us for over 25 years. So we're very grateful for that. And it makes for a wonderful experience for you during the program. They're there to take care of any problems that arise. They're there to, in these days and age, also to keep you safe, to follow the safety protocols of whatever the destination. We have enhanced protocols for cleanliness in all the motor coaches, social distancing. We're not operating programs right now, as you can imagine, but we are geared up and ready to go in 2021. And there's been some good news in the last couple of days, so we're very hopeful for 2021. All of our programs have a bit of an educational focus. It's education light. There's no exams at the end of them, but we'll usually include at least 3 lectures during our programs. And they're put on by local educators, usually university professors. And most of our guests find that enlightening and beneficial to understanding the locale of where we take you. I want to mention very briefly that we have an air department in Chicago that can help you book the most appropriate air for wherever you're coming from and how much you want to spend. There's always deals on the internet, I know, but the reason you would book with us or any tour operator is we don't issue tickets until 45 days prior to departure. When you buy the ticket yourself 6 months, 7 months in advance of when you were planning on going on the trip, that's what is called a 24-hour ticket. And you've got 24 hours to decide whether or not you're going to go. And after that 24 hours, if you say no, if you don't say no, that's your ticket. Now the rules are changing. That used to be that's non-refundable and you had to pay a heavy change fee. I don't know if you saw the news, but all the 3 big legacy airlines have now said they're dropping change fees moving forward. United has said that they're not going to bring it back ever, which shocks me. But for them to do something like that, because they have not been that friendly toward passengers for many years, as you all know. But anyway, when you book with us, we don't issue those tickets at 45 days prior. So if something comes up, if there's a conflict that arises with your departure or a medical issue, anything like that, you're not on the hook for that ticket. Plus, if there's any irregularities, as the airlines call them, which means like a late flight or a missed connection or something like that, you have our staff available to monitor. They're monitoring that. If an irregularity does occur, then they're going to be able to fix it very quickly. Also help you track luggage and stuff like that if it gets lost, but that doesn't happen very often anymore either. Okay, I think that's enough about us and background. We are planning on operating 45 different programs in 2021. Don't worry, Shannon has judiciously only picked 6 of those that I'm going to be talking about. So I don't know, I imagine it's the same in Houston as it is down here on the coast of Georgia. Tomorrow is going to be 96 degrees here, and it's pretty miserable for September. So I've asked Shannon to play a video first of somewhere nice and cool so we can just feel that first and get into the mood of going to travel. So Shannon, if you can cue that up, I'll be back in a minute.
Absolutely. I am so hopeful that the sound on this video works, but if it doesn't, please let me know in the chat so I can get that fixed for y'all.
Celebrate joyous old world traditions at holiday markets in Switzerland, France, and Germany on this magical river cruise. Aglow with twinkling lights and good cheer, these festive fairs are a delight for the senses, brimming with cheery decorations, lively music, handcrafted ornaments, and the tantalizing aromas of seasonal treats. New adventures await daily. Plus, you may customize your cruise with a choice of included excursions in Basel, Breisach, Strasbourg, and Rhine. On your exclusively chartered first-class ship, unpack once and enjoy gracious service, gourmet cuisine, and comfortable cabins. As you explore, relish comfortable camaraderie and new friendships that create unforgettable memories. Throughout this incredible journey, you'll be in the care of a seasoned travel director who handles all logistics, allowing you to thoroughly enjoy your destination. And our expert guides and local speakers will make the region's unique history and culture come to life. Plus, all of our trips feature free time, so you can strike off on your own and make new discoveries. It's time to dust off your dreams and explore. Call now to reserve your place on this one-of-a-kind adventure.
I hope that made you feel better. A little cooler. Anyway, that is our holiday markets cruise. It's going to be offered in December of 2021. And hopefully we will be able to enjoy those Christkindl markets during Advent over in Germany and Holland. So, Shannon, if you want to go ahead and put that first slide up. And we can go to the first one, or the next one. First trip I'm going to talk about is Cuba and its people that we're going to be offering in April of 2021. We've been operating programs there since 2001. And I had the chance to go there back when we were first setting it up. And I tell you, it's a fascinating trip. It's close. It's a very short air trip over from Miami. The air is included from Miami in this program. We're going to spend 5 nights in Havana and 2 nights down in Trinidad on the southern coast of the country. In all of our trips, we always include breakfast, but this trip also has 5 lunches and 5 dinners, as well as a welcome and farewell reception. So pretty much all your meals are covered. But the real cool thing about this is we go to the paladeras for meals, and these are the entrepreneurs that about 10 years ago, they were given the okay to start their own private businesses. And they have a fascinating story to tell at each of the restaurants that we go to. And this program really is about interacting with the people. We go under a license that the U.S. government grants us that's called the Support the Cuban People license. And the regulations for that license insist that you have meaningful interrelationships with the Cuban people, and we do. The small business owners, as I mentioned, the restaurant owners, the local artists, the craftsmen, dancers, musicians. We have lots of interaction with the artistic community there, as well as the educational community. You start off in Havana. It's a very easy transfer from the airport there over. And maybe you might have a question about, do you need a visa to get to Cuba? Yes, you do, but we provide that, and we give it to you at the airport in Miami. It really is a very busy itinerary, again, to adhere to the regulations, but we're in a lovely little hotel very close to Old Havana, actually on the outskirts, right on the edge of Old Havana. So you can wander around there, go to the Hotel Nacional, where Frank Sinatra used to drink his mojitos. It's a lovely setting there right on the Straits of Florida, the Malaga, the beautiful seaside boardwalk. But as I mentioned, this is really all about the people. The enrichment programs that we have here, we have urban planning and architectural challenges is one of the lectures. U.S. and Cuban relations, which is led by a professor from the University of Havana, and a lecture on contemporary art. After you've had a chance to explore Havana, we're going to transfer down to Trinidad by way of Cienfuegos. And Shannon, you can go ahead and advance the slide, please. Here's Old Havana, very near where our hotel is. And one more, please. Cienfuegos is a beautiful World Heritage Site. We'll actually hear a little orchestra program while we're in Cienfuegos on our way down to Trinidad. In Trinidad itself, next slide, please, Shannon, is a World Heritage destination. Beautiful Spanish architecture, lively scene of musicians and artists. Then we're going to head back to Havana after a couple of nights in Trinidad. And on our way, we're going to go by Ernest Hemingway's finca or farm. And it's a time capsule, like a lot of things are in Cuba. You go into his study, and his enormous easy chair is still set up there with his big bottle of whiskey and a big cigar. And there's a pool outside that Lana Turner swam in. It's a fun visit. We go back, check back into our hotel in Havana and for our final night, and then you will be on your way the next day. Lovely program. I know for some people this is not on their bucket list, but it really is an astounding experience to see it. They're lovely people, and they welcome American travelers with open arms. And yes, you will get to ride in a vintage American convertible car that these people still keep running after 60 years. Okay, we can go on to the next now. Thank you, Shannon. This is called Enchanting Bavaria. And if you're a fan of wide open spaces and beautiful vistas, this is a great trip to go on. This is southern Bavaria. We're staying in Oberstaufen at a chalet-style resort and spa. And it's a wonderful spot to be able to go out and explore Bavaria, some of Austria, and some of Switzerland as well. You can advance the slide, please, Shannon. Neuschwanstein Castle, Cinderella's castle, is on the itinerary. But you can see what the surrounding landscape is like in this part of the world. It's just magnificent. It's fantastic for touring. Oberstaufen is very centrally located for all of these highlights, very near the Austrian border. This is a 7-night program. You unpack one time and stay there the entire time. We also have 7 breakfasts, 4 lunches, and 3 dinners included in this. This and the previous program, I forgot to mention, are small groups. We're limiting enrollment on these programs to 24 passengers at the most. Besides the beauty of the surrounding area of Bavaria, we will get to see a lot of the arts and crafts that are very, very prevalent there. In fact, a lot of them will show up on the holiday markets, at the Christkindl markets later in the year. But we really want to enjoy the outdoors, and one of the most beautiful settings that we'll be visiting, you can go ahead and advance, Shannon, is Lake Constance. This is a high alpine lake that's on the border of Germany and Austria, and just a spectacular little old town. Lindau is the main town on the lake. And after exploring the old town, we'll be taking a lake cruise and end up here for a delightful lunch right on the water. It's really beautiful. We will go over to Switzerland for a day as well, and Neuschwanstein, as I mentioned earlier. Okay, Shannon. Again, just spectacular landscape. All righty. Okay, the next one is Tuscany. We've run lots and lots of Tuscany programs over the years for you all who are familiar with our line of programs, but this one is in northern Tuscany, and it's in the town of Lucca, which I have a lot of favorite towns in Italy, but this one is way up there on my list. As you can see, it's very close to Pisa. It's very close to the Cinque Terra. It's not directly on the Ligurian Sea, but you're going to have lots of opportunity to see the beautiful coastline as well. Lucca dates back to Roman Empire times, but during the medieval times, it was a huge center of trade, and they built a gigantic fortress wall around it. And Shannon, can you advance? This doesn't really show that wall that well, unfortunately. I couldn't find that picture, but it's very, very broad. It's probably 30 feet across in width. It encircles the entire old town, which is unbelievably charming in itself. Our hotel is located within the old town. But to be able to go up on top of the fortress walls and take a stroll around in the evening, or you can even go up there and rent a bike to go all the way around the walls, is really a wonderful experience. This is another 7-night program, small group, maximum 24 passengers. Unpack one time and explore out. We include 4 lunches and 3 dinners, as well as all the breakfasts. You can go ahead and advance, Shannon. The Cinque Terra is probably one that you've heard the most about on this program, and it lives up to its billing. These are the 5 little cliffside towns along the Ligurian Sea. And we spend a full day exploring them. We start off in Porto Venere, and then we'll take a motor coach down to the next town. And after that, we'll take a little boat ride. So you'll be able to see them, the little villages from the water, which is really spectacular. And then we'll have lunch in a seaside restaurant. It's really a special day. I know it seems like everybody in the world has seen this, but if you haven't, it's worth it to put it on your bucket list. Next slide, please, Shannon. Marble mines of Carrara. The Carrara marble is famous the entire world over. Michelangelo used it, but we still do in our very expensive kitchens today. And why would I want to go to a dusty old marble mine? Well, it's actually a fascinating experience. They have a museum there, and they have sculptors there on site that are working their magic on these blocks of stone. And you have some interactive features as well. But it's a working mine, but it's absolutely fascinating. We also spend some time in the day in Carrara there and have a lunch as well. There's another excursion out, the Villa Real in Monte Carlo. I don't have a slide for that one, I'm afraid, but that was a villa of Napoleon Bonaparte's sister, and it is spectacular. The gardens are magnificent, go on and on and on, and fruit groves. It's a wonderful day out in the beauties of nature. We also end up, we fly in and out of Pisa, but we go back to Pisa for the day. And I don't think I need to tell you what's famous in Pisa, but you can get to take the goofy picture of you holding up the Leaning Tower. Great trip, great part of the world, lovely Italian folks and great food. Okay, Shannon. Nordic Magnificence, we're calling this. This is primarily a land program. I know most of what you see is cruise ship itineraries in this part of the world in Scandinavia. I think this is, if you're not a big fan of the big cruise ships, I think this is a great way to get a nice slice of life in this part of the world. We start off in Copenhagen, stay in a very nice new hotel, Radisson, right in the middle of downtown, and explore that lovely city for 3 days. It's 3 nights in Copenhagen. And the highlight there, I think, is the canal cruise that we take through the city. Amsterdam gets all the hype about their canals, but Copenhagen has absolutely lovely ones, and we take advantage of that. After 3 nights in Copenhagen, we're going to be getting on a ferry boat for an overnight journey up to Oslo. And before you think that sounds awful, it's actually a lovely, lovely ship. It looks just like a cruise ship. It doesn't have balconies or anything like that, but they have very, very nice rooms, standard cruise ship size rooms. And I've had people come back and tell me, I was expecting a ferry boat and we got a nice cruise ship. So, Shannon, go ahead and advance. I'm sorry, I forgot about that. This is the Rosenborg Castle in Copenhagen. And one more, please. And you'll wake up in the morning and you'll be going up the fjord of Oslo. The ferry boat gets there about 9:45 in the morning, but it's really amazing traveling up that fjord, heading toward Oslo. Oslo itself has a lot of charms. We're going to go up to a ski jumping place that was part of a 1952 Winter Olympics. It's actually quite fascinating to look at, even in the summertime. But after 2 nights in Oslo, we are going to get on a fantastic train, one of the highest trains in the world. Go from Oslo over to Bergen, and if you've probably seen pictures of some of the passes that this train goes through. But it's in one of them, it's just a long circular descent down to the bottom. It's really a once-in-a-lifetime experience. And if you're aficionado of trains, it's a must. In Bergen is a lovely town. It was a big player in the Hanseatic League, which really helped drag Europe out of medieval doldrums. And you see the housing stock, and pretty much the whole town looks like this. And it's right on the water, right on the harbor. From Bergen, we're going to be able to take a cruise up the coast to several fjords. And then on the last day, we're having an excursion that we call the Best of Norway. And in that, you will take this funicular up to, over Bergen, and then we'll get on yet another train and take a train ride up to the high mountain passes. Bergen is circled by 7 mountains, and this train goes through several of them. Again, just a magnificent experience. We have a couple of lectures in this program, Scandinavia Today, and one on the fjords of Norway. There's also a great seafarers museum in Bergen that we'll take you to. Next one, Spain, in Andalucia, and a Parador. As you see on the map, we're going to be located in Antequera. And the town itself is lovely and enough reason to be there, but and the Parador is very nice. If you think of Paradors as the restored historic properties that you see all over Spain and Portugal as well, this is not it. This is a brand new one, and it's absolutely lovely and located on the edge of the pedestrian district, but then on the edge of a valley that spreads out from the terrace where we'll have our welcome reception. Absolutely gorgeous. This is another 7-night program, unpacked one time. This one also has the advantage of being a no single supplement program, meaning if you're a solo traveler, you don't have to pay extra to go. Again, another small group, 24 passengers maximum. There are all kinds of highlights in this itinerary. This is Andalucia has been a crossroads of history for millennia. It's been invaded and conquered by everybody from the Phoenicians to the Moors. And it shows in the mishmash of cultural influences, but it's absolutely fascinating and beautiful. Antequera itself has some ancient history. They have some very ancient graves there that we'll take you to when we're doing an orientation of the region. And then we're going to go over to Granada, which has the Alhambra, which was, I'm sorry, I might have this out of order, Shannon. She's doing her best to keep up with me here, but there's Granada. Again, the Alhambra was built to be a paradise on earth, and it really is. It's spectacular. The workmanship is just unbelievable. We'll also be going to Ronda. I think we saw a little glimpse of that in another slide. Ronda is one of the white houses of, or white villages of this region. And it is set on a tremendous gorge. You can't believe your eyes when you look down into this gorge. It's an unbelievable geologic formation. But they built a very pretty little town right on the edge of it. So Ronda has also been very instrumental in bullfighting in Spain. And they have a museum of bullfighting there. They no longer have fights there, which a lot of people are happy about. But it's a fascinating visit to the museum. We'll have 3 lectures on this one, Andalusia and the Moorish influence, one on contemporary Spain. And then we're going to have a flamenco performance, and she'll be instructing you as well in the art of flamenco. We also visit Cordoba, another very historic city, and the last one there, Malaga, is only about a 45-minute transfer from Antequera, and the hotel and we provide a free round-trip shuttle into Malaga, so you can get in there on your free day, final free day, and nose around. That's absolutely beautiful city right on the Mediterranean. Okay. And we're back to the Holiday Markets cruise. I don't have the date on this, but it's December 12 to 20. And as you can see, we're going to be probably on this program, we're going to be flying into Zurich and out of Dusseldorf. I hope you got the gist of what the program's all about. It's not a heavy educational program. It's more about enjoying the atmosphere and ambience of these Christkindl markets that are all along the rivers in Germany and Holland and parts of Switzerland as well during the season of Advent. And it's all about the crafts on sale, but it's also about wandering around and doing people watching and having a big mug of Glühwein, the mulled wine that's so popular at that time of year. This is a fully chartered ship, so you will be on there with other universities, alumni associations. It sails with about 127 people if we're full. There's actually room for many more, but this is, again, a no single supplement program. You pay no extra to be a solo traveler. So that's usually where we sail. And I should say again, depending on where we are in December of 2021 with this awful virus, you might not be sailing with nearly that many people. It just depends on where we will be at that time. I'm hopeful that in 15 months, we will be to a place where you would feel comfortable getting on a river ship. I can tell you that the river ships do a wonderful job of making sure that all the common areas and the touch points are cleaned very, very frequently. And everyone is having to put these types of policies into place and protocols into place. And of course, we're insisting on all of our suppliers that they be doing exactly that. Shannon? Yeah, go ahead. I have to see some more pictures of the of the cool weather. This is Strasbourg, a gorgeous town in the Alsace. I love that town. You can advance. Heidelberg. It's one of the biggest markets is in Heidelberg. And we will visit Cologne as well and get a chance to see the cathedral there. It's absolutely magnificent. All righty. I think, Shannon, that I'm done. Everybody still seems to be awake that has their camera on. That's good. Are there any questions about specific trips?
This is Earl Van, excuse me, Earl Van Zandt. I have a question about the Cuba trip. I've understood from other people that it's pretty well regimented. You don't have a lot of free time to wander around. Is that still the case now?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the regulations under this license, that you're not supposed to have a lot of free time. You're supposed to be, busy engaging with folks. But I was reading the program manual on this earlier today, and there are, generally speaking, at least a couple of hours every day where you can go out and wander. And, it's not like the Cubans are saying you can't do that. It's our government that says you're not supposed to do that, and they're not there policing it. So, but we do, stick to the policies very closely. But yes, there is a little bit of free time.
I sort of have mixed emotions about Cuba. I was there in 1948. Sort of
Really?
curious to see how drastically it's changed. I'm sure it's not the same town, probably the same automobiles, but the rest of it changed a lot.
There's a lot of the same automobiles, that's for sure. I don't know how they keep them running. It's amazing. But it really is, it's a time warp. It's amazing.
There's a new thriller novel out where they're on one of these educational trips to Cuba, and they break the regulations and leave the group, and there's a lot of talk about what the group is allowed to do and not allowed to do. I thought the novel, I read it, did not knowing all this, I thought the novel was probably pretty accurate because they named Jeff De Laurentiis as the Chargé in Havana, and I know Jeff De Laurentiis, and he was indeed the Chargé in Havana, so I suspect the author took one or more of these educational travel trips before he wrote his novel. Anyway, I'm just mentioning that because you might want to check out the novel if you
Yeah.
decide to go to Cuba.
Do you know the name of it?
I'll have to look it up, and I can do that and try to put it on the chat line. In the meantime, I have a question for you. The last time we met with Shannon, some of your fall programs for this year hadn't yet been canceled. Have those all been canceled now?
Through October, they have.
There was one you had.
What we've been doing that on a rolling basis. In what we've been doing is when we froze all the cancellation fees, any of the fees. And then when we get to what is our traditional billing date, which is 75 days in advance of departure, that's when we would make the decision about whether to cancel. I don't anticipate us operating any programs in 2021, unfortunately.
Okay, well, you had a trip to France that was a RICE trip. And it's not on this list of 6 trips you just rolled out, so it's not being repeated for next year.
Shannon, which one is that? Can you remind me?
The Albie.
Albie. We are going to run that program again. RICE is not sponsoring it, but we are running the program. So if you did want to transfer to that program, we could certainly get you on there, but it would not be a RICE departure.
Any other questions? Okay. Well, if you think of any other questions, you're welcome to reach out to Bob and his team at AHI directly. Their contact information is on our website. But I always encourage you to reach out to me, travelingowls@rice.edu, as kind of your first stop, and I'll make sure I work with Bob and his team and we get you guys an answer. That's it for today's presentation. If there's one more time, any questions? Any? All
Well,
right.
thank you, Shannon. Thank you for letting me do this. It's great to see you folks. I'm sorry we can't do it in person, but let's hope for next year that we can. And I know probably some of you aren't ready to go traveling right now, but when you do get to that point, we'll be ready for you.
Well, thank you so much, Bob, and thanks all of you guys for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you, Shannon. Bye-bye.